Picture this. You walk over to your lush, elegant peace lily, also known in the botanical world as a Spathiphyllum, just to admire its glossy green foliage, and bam, a glaring, bright yellow leaf is staring right back at you. It's a total gut-sinking feeling, right? Well, welcome to This Explainer, where we are going to tackle that exact, highly relatable scenario head-on. So let's just take a breath and dive right into this. Before you panic and impulsively pour a whole gallon of water into its pot, let's pause for a second. A yellow leaf is usually not a death sentence at all. Actually, it's more like a status report. Your plant might simply be trying to communicate something to you about its internal chemistry or its environment. Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover the yellow leaf panic. Second, peace lily biology basics. Third, diagnosing the symptoms. Fourth, actionable plant care solutions. And finally, evergreen plant health guidelines. All right, let's jump right into part one, the yellow leaf panic. So there is actually a pretty big difference between good yellow and bad yellow. If you're seeing a single, solitary yellow leaf way down at the very bottom of the plant, while all the new growth up top is light green and thriving, well, congratulations, this is just natural aging. The plant is literally just retiring its oldest, least efficient leaf so it can redirect that energy into brand new growth. Just let it dry out completely, give it a gentle pull, and throw it away. No emergency treatment necessary. Moving right along to section 2, peace lily biology basics. To really understand what this plant needs, we have to look at where it originally comes from. Down in its native Central and South American rainforests, the peace lily thrives right on the jungle floor. It absolutely loves dappled, filtered sunlight and warm, muggy, humid air. Now, contrast that jungle floor with your typical living room. We're talking dry air from winter heating and harsh, direct sunlight blasting right through a window pane. It's a completely different world, and that shock is often where our problems start. Okay, part 3, diagnosing the symptoms. When your plant starts stressing out and turning yellow, it usually boils down to one of these usual suspects. We're looking at a severe moisture imbalance, incorrect lighting, chemical-heavy topwater, nutrient starvation, or a sneaky invasion of pests and diseases. Let's break these down so you know exactly what to look for when you're playing plant doctor. Identifying moisture issues is absolutely crucial because overwatering and underwatering both cause yellowing, but the symptoms look very, very different. Overwatering actually suffocates the roots. They literally drown in the pot, which leads to soft, limp, mushy yellow leaves, often accompanied by this really swampy, foul smell coming from the soil. Underwatering, on the flip side, gives you crispy brown edges, a dramatically limp and drooping plant, and soil that feels super hard and compacted to the touch. Now let's talk about light stress and how that builds up. If your plant is sitting directly in a south-facing window, taking in full sun, the leaves are going to look bleached and scorched, turning this pale, washed-out yellow color. But if it's trapped in deep shade in a dark corner of the room, it's going to turn a generalized pale yellow and get really leggy and weak as it stretches desperately toward the nearest light source. And then there's this very specific, kind of fascinating pattern called chlorosis. This happens when the leaf tissue turns pale yellow, but the veins remain stark, dark green. It almost looks like a little spider web drawn on the leaf. This is a direct hunger signal. Your plant is literally telling you the soil is completely depleted of essential minerals, which is almost always a lack of magnesium or iron. Which brings us to section 4, actionable plant care solutions. For watering issues, honestly, just forget those complicated scheduling apps. The absolute best diagnostic tool, straight from the botanical experts, is the simple finger test. Just stick your finger right into the soil up to your second knuckle. If it's totally dry an inch below the surface, it's time to water. But if it feels soggy or wet in any way, stop immediately. Step away from the watering can. Now, if you've accidentally overwatered and you smell that foul, swampy odor of root rot we talked about, you've got to act fast to save it from a watery grave. You must unpot the plant and inspect those roots. Healthy roots should be firm and white. If you're seeing dark, slimy, mushy roots, cut them away entirely with a pair of sterile shears. Then, just repot the plant in fresh, dry, well-draining soil, definitely mix in some perlite, in a pot that's just 1 to 2 inches larger than the root ball. What if you're seeing brown, crispy tips surrounded by a little yellow halo? Well, you might be fighting a battle against water chemicals. Peace lilies are highly sensitive to the chlorine and fluoride found in everyday municipal tap water. To fix this, it's super easy. Simply switch to distilled or filtered water, collect some rainwater if you can, or just leave your tap water sitting out in an open container for 24 hours. That lets all the harsh chlorine just evaporate right out before you water. Finally, let's wrap things up with Section 5, Evergreen Plant Health Guidelines. To keep your peace lily, which, by the way, is sometimes called female happiness in some cultures for the positive energy it supposedly brings, thriving long-term, you'll definitely want to remember this little triage strategy. Dry out the soil for mushy leaves, find gentle morning sun for bleached leaves, and apply a good liquid fertilizer for that spiderweb chlorosis look. Also, keep an eye out for opportunistic pests. Bugs like spider mites and aphids absolutely love to attack a plant when it's already stressed out. If you spot tiny little webs or bugs under the leaves, don't panic. Just gently wipe them away with a simple neem oil solution or a mild soapy water spray. That'll stop widespread yellowing dead in its tracks. And hey, remember the rainforest. Always try to maintain a steady room temperature of at least 65 degrees Fahrenheit, going up to about 85 degrees. Anything lower than 65 will definitely trigger severe stress. And to boost that humidity, a simple pebble tray filled with water placed right underneath the pot works absolute wonders to mimic that muggy tropical environment they love so much. Just a quick evergreen reminder here, while these guidelines are based on expert botanical sources and proven practices, every single plant is a unique living organism. Its health is going to vary based on your home's specific microclimate. So carefully observe your specific Spathiphyllum and definitely seek out personalized, local advice if your plant continues to struggle. So, are you ready to stop panicking and start listening? The next time you see a yellow leaf, don't spiral. Instead, ask yourself, if plants can communicate their precise chemical and environmental needs simply by changing their colors, what else is happening right now in the unseen, silent world of your living room? You've totally got this.